Some time back, I received in the name of our country the bodies of 4 Marines who had died while on active duty. I said then that there is a special sadness that accompanies the death of a serviceman, for we're never quite good enough to them. Not really, we can't be, because what they gave us is beyond our powers to repay. And so when a serviceman dies, it's a tear in the fabric, a break in the whole, and all we can do is remember. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise. We see them as something like the founding fathers, grave and gray-haired. But most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up 2 lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. We owe them a debt we can never repay. All we can do is remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us.
Will you remain standing, please, for our pledge or Star Spangled Banner?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rugged red glare, the
Wow. Do we have a bunch of beautiful graduates here today or what? Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome graduates, parents, families, friends, faculty and staff, and our distinguished guests. I would like to introduce members of the Natrona County School District Board of Trustees. We have our board chair, Mr. Raymond Catalier. We have our vice chair, Dr. Clark Jensen. Treasurer, Mr. David Applegate. And we have trustees, Mrs. Kyla Alvey and Mr. Thomas Mylar and Mrs. Dana Howie, which is a special day for her because our speaker's wife was in Dana's class, her first year of teaching, so that's special for her. Thank you for being here. Next, I would like to introduce members of the Natrona County School District Cabinet, Superintendent Mr. Mike Jennings, Associate Superintendent Mr. Walt Wilcox, Executive Directors Dr. Charlotte Gilbar, and Mr. Steve Elbogen. To each trustee and cabinet member, I would like to say thank you for the support you have demonstrated for the Roosevelt High School community. Without your support, our community would not flourish as it does, so thank you so much for all your support for us. In addition, I would like to publicly thank Mr. Lucas Dow for the outstanding leadership he has provided for the Pathways Innovation Center for the last 2 years. The RHS community is really overjoyed that he will be joining our faculty this coming school year. So for all your hard work in bringing positive change and growth to Pathways Innovation Center, we thank you, Mr. Dow. Before we get going, if you have one of these things, would you turn it to silent mode or off? We would like to focus to remain on these beautiful graduates. If you don't know how to do that, ask any kid around you, they'll help you out. Also, during this celebration ceremony, we kindly request that audience members please refrain from using air horns and other noisemakers when your special graduate's name is announced. Each graduate is deserving of their special moment to be recognized for their hard work and their chance to proudly walk across this stage that we've been telling them for 13 years are going to do it. So thank you for respecting others. To our graduates, specifically, Mikey Anderson, Jasmine Garrison, Trace Davis, Ashton Kep, and Dylan DeSouza. After hounding you for years to take your hats and hoodies off, today's the day you can wear a hat in the building. Isn't life just filled with mixed messages like that? Sorry. So, the honored guest that I would like to invite to the podium next is a veteran journalist, the author of 18 books, and a favorite son of Casper, Wyoming. Shortly after 9/11, he spent time in the Middle East covering the War of Terror for the Denver Post. In 2004, he literally spent time inside the storm known as Hurricane Rita as a reporter. His newest book, Shadow Man, An Elusive Psycho Killer and the Birth of FBI Profiling, was released this March by Berkeley Penguin Random House. We are incredibly grateful that Mr. Ron Francel agreed to address the class of 2022. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ron Francel.
Can everybody hear? I'll turn it down. Thank you, Superintendent Jennings, the board members, Principal Catlin, Jamie Bockert is here someplace, and all the students, the teachers, the parents, and the staff who made these last few years everything that they were. Every one of you have made an impact on the graduates who sit here today, especially you teachers. Being the husband of a high school English teacher, I know that the price you paid to do everything you do, and you did it very well. Thank you. It's my honor today to deliver the commencement address for this extraordinary class of 2022. It's a strange kind of pressure I feel standing between you guys and your diplomas. So I've limited my speech to 3 hours. You're a special group of young men and women. You're the last to know what Roosevelt High School was like before the pandemic. You've survived a couple of tumultuous years, from Zoom classrooms to lockdowns to economic uncertainties to social distancing from your boyfriends and girlfriends, which I'm sure you all religiously observed. But here you are, despite it all. There were certainly unique challenges in your high school years, and like every other lesson you learned at Roosevelt, think of them as good training for the challenges that lie ahead. I must warn you from the start, I'm not here because you need to hear what I'm going to say, but only because I need to say it. You're now at a crossroads that most of us up here have already faced. You might presume that because I'm standing up here and you're out there, that I have come to give you the magic beans. You might think that I've come to tell you something that all your teachers and your friends or your life haven't already taught you. You might even believe that I'm smarter than 1,000 other people who could be standing here right now. And it's possible they asked all of them before they got to me. But here's the thing, there are no magic beans. The real reason I'm here is ancient. I'm all about stories. And for thousands of years, we've told stories about heroes and their triumphs and their failures. In each of those stories, there's always a mentor character who appears, and he or she is absolutely essential to the hero's success. Mentors have already been down the path. They possess some valuable information that will help our hero get what he came for. A mentor is always a positive example on everyone around him or her. They teach us what we need to know. They sometimes protect us until we're ready to do whatever we're meant to do. A mentor leads us away from the darkness, and he tells us what he's already learned on the path that we're now walking. Okay, think of Obi-Wan Kenobi, of Glinda the Good Witch, Bruce Wayne's Alfred, Dumbledore, Daenerys Targaryen, Gandalf. They're all mentors. But let me give you a real-life example. I've known your teacher, Mark McAtee, for a long, long time, since the middle of the last century when we were together at Dean Morgan Junior High School. He claims that he finished way back in our Kelly Walsh class of 1975, although I dispute that. After graduation, we started down very different paths, but as it happens so often when you're from Wyoming, our paths crossed again more than 30 years later. It was good to see him again. That is, it was good for me to see him again. Along his path, he'd become one of the most remarkable men I knew. He flies airplanes, he makes beautiful pottery, he fixes motorcycles, he grows about 1,000 different kinds of tomatoes, and he seeks out some of the world's most fascinating places. He once showed me how to build a greenhouse by drawing it out on a placemat in a restaurant, and I'll be doggone if it didn't work. He married an equally remarkable woman, and together they raised a couple of good men. Almost as importantly, he spent his adult life teaching you how to think, to solve problems, and to be better people. I'm up here today only because I've written a couple of books. But maybe he should be up here instead. You should want to know what he knows. Heck, I want to know what he knows. Many of you have been extraordinarily lucky to be in his classes, not just because he knows a lot of stuff, but because he has a lot to teach all of us. He might be Obi-Wan. But he's the kind of exceptional people you'll meet in your passages ahead. They might not always appear to be mentors, but they'll always leave you with something you should remember for the rest of your journey. That is, the rest of your life. Okay, here's some good news and some bad news. The bad news is that we all fail. We're all disappointed. We all get bruised. You'll fail and you'll get bruised and you'll be disappointed and it'll feel like it's the end of the world. But it's not. It's not the end of the world. Nobody likes to fail, but failing is how we learn to succeed. Don't be afraid to fail, please. As my Marine buddies would say, embrace the suck. Yes, I've failed, many more times than I care to admit, actually. I'd give anything to go back in time and do certain things again until I got them right. But that's one place the road never goes. There's no going back. You can only move forward. It's a one-way street. You just can't stop if you expect to get where you're going. In the last century, when I was your age, I played football at Kelly Walsh High School. My coach had played in the Dallas Cowboys for only one season when a skiing accident ended his career really before it ever began. He knew about bruises. He knew about disappointment. He knew about failure. But he used to tell us this: if your uniform isn't dirty, you never got in the game. So, get in the game and don't be afraid to get dirty. But there's also this good news. A long time ago, I was writing a story about the great American novelist Larry McMurtry, who wrote the book Lonesome Dove. At the time, he was about the age that I am now, which is about the time that we all start thinking about life. In our interview, he told me that there are only two important questions in a life. The first is, how shall I marry? Which, to me, was really about who you want beside you on your life's journey. The second question was, where does the road go? To me, those two questions are really the same one. You begin 1,000 miles apart, and if you choose right, you travel closer to the people that you want to accompany you on your journey. Maybe you haven't met them yet. Maybe they haven't even been born yet. Or maybe they're the people who came to celebrate with you today. But when you find them, the space between you will have disappeared. Keep them close. They're where the road goes. Here's another thing. Your road at 18 is not the same road you'll travel at 38 or 58. Your dreams will change course several times in there, sometimes for the better, sometimes not. It won't always be a long, straight, easy road. It rises and falls and sometimes doubles back on itself for all of us. And roads don't always go where you'd like them to go. Our journeys represent love, progress, escape, family outings, remedy, adventure, drift, exploration, desperation. Some of those things lead us to happy endings, and some, if you let them, can be dead ends. That's just a fact you should know, and I'm sure some of you already do. But all roads are connected, yours, mine, everybody's. No road begins and ends without crossing another. In fact, yours and my road have crossed today, and maybe for the first and only time in our lives. So I hope both of us will leave with something shiny and new. You need to know, too, there's no road someone hasn't traveled before us. That can be both a comfort and a disappointment. That's just life. But you are going to meet some rare and remarkable people out there, and they can help you change your life. Let me illustrate this way. 65 years ago, my 18-year-old single mother gave birth to me. Now, fortunately, I don't remember a lot about that. 47 years ago, I sat exactly where you sit today, totally sure about where I was going. 2 years later, I wasn't sure anymore. I had second thoughts. 44 years ago, I worked as a waiter in a restaurant downtown while I was trying to figure out where I was going next. And to be honest, I thought I wasn't going anywhere. 42 years ago, I got my first job as a reporter in a little newspaper in a little town, and my most important assignment was writing obituaries. But that's where I learned to practice and practice and practice until stories unfolded enough that 37 years ago I was nominated for the first time for a Pulitzer Prize in journalism, and a few years later again. 25 years ago, I wrote my first book. Publishers rejected it 37 times. It took that 38th submission before a publisher took this book and published it. Then the San Francisco Chronicle named it one of the best 100 novels of the 20th century West. And my career blossomed from there. But what if I'd stopped at 37 rejections? What if I'd never sent number 38? Would I be here? Probably not. Somewhere in there I had 2 beautiful children, but 22 years ago my charmed life fell apart when I was divorced. A few weeks later, I spent Christmas Day alone in the back booth of an empty Denver IHOP. Some of you already know how that feels. 20 years ago, just a few days after 9/11, I was dispatched by the Denver Post to cover the war on terror in the Middle East. I was there for the longest 6 months of my life. 1 year after I came home from the war, I met a woman. As it turns out, she had been a 14-year-old busgirl when I was that confused 20-year-old waiter at that restaurant here in Casper, and when I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. She remembered me, but I never knew her. But since that night when we met again, we've never been apart. And she's here with me somewhere out there tonight. So you see, my road kind of meandered through good and bad times, but it led me here today. And that's the important thing. It's not the end of my road, but it's a stop that I'm glad I haven't missed. Along the way, though, I had many mentors. My high school journalism teacher, the Egyptian chef I met after 9/11 on a bridge over the Nile, a Bedouin in the Sahara Desert who gave me tea and dates as the sun came up, and he didn't speak English, but he communicated to me something very valuable. An elderly artist who taught me how to risk writing down the words that existed only deep down in the heart of my heart. And my own son. They all taught me in their own ways that there's not just one path to a worthwhile life. Now, you have all taken different roads here today, and they haven't always been easy. But now they're in your rearview mirror. We all know where we've been, but we can't always know where we're going. Some things are better left behind. We can only hope that there's a place up ahead where we'll find what we're looking for. Maybe that's a good job, a good family, or learning why you're here on this earth. Maybe all of those things. So you must find your North Star. That's the thing that will keep you moving in more or less the right direction. The world is going to change around you, but the North Star is going to keep your eye on the road. We're all headed in one direction or another, but you're not just a leaf being carried down the stream. You can choose where you go, and your North Star can light the way. Everybody has a different North Star, but yours is out there, I promise. When you find it, you'll know where you're headed. Have faith, keep looking up. In closing, let me summarize what I believe. I believe in the road. I believe in the people who've traveled it before me. I believe in number 38. I believe in getting your uniform dirty. I believe in North Stars. I believe everyone has a purpose. I believe anything is possible. I believe that someday one of you is going to be standing right here where I am today, telling some young people who aren't even born yet where you've been and why they should believe in themselves, because I believe in you. And all these people, my God, all these people who came here to celebrate with you today believe in you too. That's what I needed to say. Thank you for letting me say it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Francel. Now we're privileged to hear from some of our graduates. They've prepared a reflection and a salute to their classmates and their school. So please, can I have the student speakers gather up over here off the stage here for me? The class motto is, I gotta put my glasses on for this one. This is only the ending of the first chapter of a grand adventure. So graduates, we're about on the last two sentences of the last paragraph of the first chapter. Okay, we'll be there real quick. So I'd like to introduce our first student speaker, Miss Autumn Shell. Please come on up.
2022 graduates, we did it. We worked hard to be here sitting in front of the stage. Look around. We are not just strangers exchanging glances in the hallway. No, we are a graduating family. So let us set our differences aside and enjoy this moment together. Because together, we are ending a chapter in our lives and beginning a new chapter. We have a choice to make now. After we graduate, we can choose to go to college or university to achieve higher education. We can choose to start work, or we can choose to serve in the military. No matter what we do with our lives from here, we have a choice on how we want to pursue our dreams. We have a choice on how we want to lift our careers off the ground. But no matter what we decide to do with our lives, we will always have the moments where we look at our framed diploma and tassel. When we have those moments, we can go, wow, that was one of the best days of my life. And that's because it was one of the best moments in our lives. So as a graduating family, let's walk across this very stage with our heads held high. Let's walk across the stage with friends and family cheering us on. Let's walk across the stage and receive the diploma we worked so hard for. Let us begin this new chapter in our lives.
Thank you, Autumn. And next, I'd like to welcome Miss McKaylee Cooper. Come on up.
All right, let's make this short and sweet. Okay. Good afternoon, parents, teachers, students, and the graduating class of 2022. First, I would like to thank all of the faculty who work at Roosevelt. All of you have guided us and have done everything in your power to help us get to where we are in this very moment, and I couldn't thank you more. I would also like to thank all of the students at Roosevelt. You have all made my senior year one to remember, and I would not change a single thing about my experience. Although we have learned many lessons, we might not have taken them to heart. One lesson that I have learned is that life will throw challenges at you no matter what. We will always overcome them. Some challenges will be harder than others, and some challenges will feel as if they will never end. But always remember, you're stronger than you think you are. You can overcome anything, it just depends on how you look at it. There's a huge difference between a positive mindset and a negative. If I could teach anyone anything, it would be to keep a positive mindset in the darkest of times, and it'll be your guide. It'll help you see forward. A quote that I've been told by my older brother Michael is to be a leader, not a follower. Although we have heard this quote a million times, this quote has had a huge impact on my life, and I hope I can impact you too. This to me is a reminder that only you can pave the way to your future, so do your own thing. Sometimes it's all we can do, and that's okay. Do what's best for you. Parents, I know you're extremely proud, and I would like to also congratulate you. We wouldn't be where we are today without you, so take pride in all of your hard work that you put into raising your children. We have just accomplished a huge life goal that we will remember for the rest of our lives. So congratulations, seniors, great work. Now it's on to the next chapter of our books. Are you ready? Because I am. Today is our day, so let's make it a day to remember. Many blessings to you in your future.
Thank you, McKaylee. Good work. Next student speaker, Mr. Hayden Terry. Come on up, Hayden.
Graduation is here, and what an honor it is for me to be standing here. Congratulations to everyone here today. We all have worked very hard to get to the major turning point in our lives. People say Roosevelt is a school for bad students with failing grades and people who are in trouble with the law. Well, today's a slap in the face to the people who say negative things about Roosevelt and the students that go to the school. We have very successful students that are here today showing and disproving the labels and rumors about the school that have been placed upon for years. I am in a program called REACH, housed in Roosevelt. I have had the honor of taking a couple classes in Roosevelt. Outside of REACH and from what I have seen and heard, teachers and staff have made an amazing community here. So I would like to say thank you to the teachers and staff at this amazing school for the great year that they have brought us. I would also like to thank my parents for sticking by me even when times got rough. Without everyone standing by us, we would not be here taking this final step in our high school journey. As we leave here today, always remember we can only control the things we can control, and remember to take one day at a time. Best of luck to all of us as we take this next step in our lives.
Thank you, Hayden. Our last speaker today is Mr. Keenan Morgan. I had to use the dictionary to figure out some of the words that he wrote, so he's one of the smartest guys I know. But take it away, Mr. Keenan.
Well, thanks. Firstly, I want to start on a more somber tone and acknowledge something that I think is important. So when I was in elementary school, that was when Sandy Hook happened. And so many of you were also in elementary school. Family and friends here today are seeing you graduate, knowing that they'll get to see your smile again, knowing that they'll get to see you with a cap and gown and diploma. As was demonstrated this recent Tuesday, that precious and sacred gift can be so viciously stripped away. The class of Sandy Hook should be almost next in line for graduation, but they're not. The class of Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas will never have a graduation. So as we celebrate today, never forget how lucky you are to have made it here. And remember that we cannot sit idly by while our young future is stolen from us. This carnage is a problem, and the longer we stand in denial, we are delaying the political solutions that should have been established years ago. Thank you for indulging me there off script. So good afternoon and congratulations. Congratulations to the class of 2022. We are gathered here today as graduates because of years of directed work and commitment, a decade of dedication and grit towards this singular goal, and all that it represents has resulted has resulted in your sitting here today. The meaning this moment carries for our families, friends, teachers, and mentors is significant and profound. It highlights the support system made up of relationships, both close and distant, that has aided us in achieving this accomplishment. We owe thanks and gratitude to those supporters who have nudged us along or kept us afloat. In ways both seen and unseen, our appearance here has been partly facilitated by those around us, thanks to their presence and commitment to our personal success. And although their support is significant, we must not ignore or dismiss the hard work that we have put in that has carried us to this point. The culmination of this decade-long undertaking is incredibly significant and valuable. Although our individual motivations for graduation may be different, we have each put in the energy required for a diploma. Our perseverance and our painstaking efforts have paid off. Our success is to be celebrated, not just by those around us, but by ourselves. We made it. It is because of our hard work and the tenacity to succeed that we are here. Often we do not give ourselves enough credit for such things. Do not underestimate the importance of this moment or the value that it holds. It is no secret to most of us that not everyone reaches this point. While graduating high school may be one of the easiest things some of us do in our lives, it still took years of fighting, persistence, and a basic level of self-respect and dedication towards this goal in order to achieve it. So above all, be proud of yourself, honor yourself, thank yourself, say congratulations, and recognize your hard work. The future is yours so long as you make it. This is your day, and it's your moment. Celebrate it for yourself as much as you would for anyone else. It would not have been possible without a basic level of commitment to yourself. Fundamentally, that's what it boils down to. You had enough self-respect to recognize the value in completing this chapter of your life, as opposed to taking an easier route. The importance of this should not be understated or undervalued. I would now like to focus on the idea of respect and tie it into values of truth and change. On a personal level, we have each demonstrated respect for ourselves by being truthful to the goal of graduation and making changes where needed in order to walk across the stage today. But the meaning and significance of respect, truth, and change go far beyond situational personal connections. Adherence or deviation from these values have compounding effects. Whether relating to our friends and families, teachers and mentors, our local community, or our national unity, respect, truth, and the ability and willingness to change are critical for all levels of success. Our most treasured personal relationships rest on foundations of mutual respect. We understand that these relationships are endangered when we divert from the truth and disregard honesty. We acknowledge that evolution and adaptation is required when confronting interpersonal challenges. It is no different on a larger scale. In order for a community to flourish, everyone must participate in good faith and in good confidence. This is acutely demonstrated on a national level, with our country experiencing unprecedented divisions that threaten to poison the prospects of our future as a younger generation. We must recognize that the heightened levels of negativity, stagnation, dishonesty, and disrespect that currently plagues our country is not normal. As we move on from traditional K-12 education and dive headfirst into the real world, we cannot forget this fact. We, as young people, hold immense power over the direction of our community and our country, and that direction depends on our individual and collective commitments to respect, the truth, and change. We build our future. It is not handed to us. To build the future is to change the direction of the present. To quote our 44th president, quote, "Change requires more than just speaking out. It requires listening to those with whom you disagree and being prepared to compromise," end quote. Change requires acknowledging that while we may not always see things the same way, we recognize that we are all on the same team. Participation and faith in our democratic systems is crucial to obtaining change. It requires respect to be truthful, and it requires acknowledging the truth to change. It requires all three to be united. Our commitment to these values on personal, local, and national levels drives the direction of our everyday lives. It is up to all of us at all levels of life and civics to demonstrate this understanding. It is important to note, however, that this is not easy. High school may seem like a cakewalk in comparison to making a concerted effort every day to not just listen to an opposing opinion, but to understand it, discuss it, and authentically speak the truth. Valid disagreements are rooted in fundamental beliefs and principles that are supported by the truth, not misinformed and incomplete recycled opinions isolated from logic or facts. Holding accountable those we trust, including ourselves and those we love or admire, is necessary for upholding such principles. This kind of self and mutual respect, responsibility, and adherence to the truth and basic facts is the foundation of our informed democracy. While it may not be easy to repeatedly practice, it is nonetheless necessary for our personal, communal, and national health. So for all of us, despite what may be said here tomorrow by those who are not as committed to these values, and despite the common occurrences of unfair viciousness that often dominates our national and personal conversations, let's remember that our future truly depends on each of us together as a team. Class of 2022, we are the future. We have the tremendous power and privilege of an education. We are better positioned for progress than most generations that have come before us. In the same way your support system of friends and family has aided you to graduate, each of us serve as the arbiters of our unified local and national success. So while you celebrate yourself and your achievement today, consider the trajectory of your personal and collective future. Consider your commitment to respect the truth and your willingness to pursue or enact personal or national change. Consider our collective responsibility to ourselves and to each other. Take this time to be proud of what you have done, then start this new chapter in your life with focused purpose and values. Use those values to better yourself, your community, and your country. No pressure, but it's in our hands. Thank you and congratulations.
I told you he was great, right? It's about that time, graduates. So could I have the cabinet members, would you guys come over here along the line? We're gonna, for the greeting line, and the board trustees, when they get over there, I'll try not to get you guys in the way and run over each other. And if you guys would come over on this side and where you can hand out the diplomas. Chairman Raymond Catalier and members of the Board of Trustees, I'm honored to present the class of 2022 and certify that they have met the requirements for graduation.
Having been certified by Principal James Catlin as meeting all requirements for graduation by the authority vested in the Board of Trustees of Natrona County School District Number 1, I declare the members of the class of 2022 prepared to receive their diplomas.
And now, for the moment these 75-ish graduates have been working so hard for over the past 13 years, it is time for them to receive their hard-earned diplomas. First row, will you please stand up? And you may start walking this way. You folks would like to do 5 or so apiece. Yeah, if you would take, you want to take turns doing 5 or so.
All righty, here we go. Paige Yvonne Brush. Peyton Marie Brush. Dylan John DeSouza. Ashton Danielle Moth. Gray James Emerson. Mikey Jedediah Anderson. Isaiah James Douglas. Kelsey Reese Harvard. Ashton Thomas Kep. Trace Ryan Davis. Wesley Hunter Williams. Deja Dawn Madden. Bradley Tyler Woodward. Haley Lorraine Plum. Riley Marie Plum. Keenan Ivan Lee Morgan. Riley Mikkel Holmes. Emily Grace Eastman. Nathan Joseph Dutro. Trinity Lachelle McLaughlin. Seth James Beach. Oriana Page Weiss. Mercedes Marie Alarcon. Taylor Shea Gage. Haley Jade Holbrook. Lane Carol Nicholson. Marie Jane Anderson. Robin Rianne McCann. Ginny Ann Ponder. Angel Ann Lynn Bauer. Tori Marie Gustafson. Tierney Nicole Burgess. Amanda Ruth Wagner. Tori Lynn Wicks. Ian Alexander Baca. James Theodore Mobley. Molly Elizabeth Coffey. Desiree Marie Bickford. Nathan Andrew David Wyatt. Autumn Rose Shell. Kaylee Capri Baldwin. Alexis Marie Waldron. Samara Ambria Enlow. Cadence Nevaeh Henson. Emily Jean Brost. Glenn Clyde Claire Ware. Xavier Demetrius Guena. Jace Anthony Lyles. Haley Rose McEwen. Emily Rose Lane. Sage Sierra Ramza. Hayden Lee Terry. Paige Joe Armstrong. Madison Nicole Stout. Brandy Marie Lopez. Kaylee Jane Aguilar. Jasmine Rose Garrison. McKaylee Irene Cooper. Brittany Lynn Moore. Callie Mist Volmar. Zach Thomas Johnson. Demarion Walter Hoff. Corbin Nathaniel Pillen. Keyshawn Sky Baldwin. Kaylee Ray Bates. Julia Christine Donald. Morgan Elizabeth Berg. Bella Rose Neeland. Hannah Jean Tucker. Tiffany Michelle Hawk. Sheldon Dwayne Watkins. Taylor Allred Thomas. Tasha Ray Whiteman. Trinity Maria Zirden. Karina Marissa Jackson.
Mr. Keenan Morgan, will you make your way back to the stage, sir? We have a few more hugs and a few more handshakes over there before we give it over to you, okay? While we're waiting, Mrs. Sutherland's going to take some pictures. If you'd like your picture, graduates, with your diploma cover, see this nice lady over here waving her hand, okay? So you graduates, if you'd like a professional quality picture, she'll make you look really good. Guess we could have hung out for a while. Okay. Yeah. This is great. Okay, now it's time for the ceremonial tassel change led by Mr. Keenan Morgan.
Graduates, please stand. Please grasp the tassel and with me move it from the right to the left. Congrats.
Once upon a young year, when all our shadows disappeared, the animals inside came out to play. Went face to face with all our fears, learned our lessons through the tears, made memories we knew would never fade. One day my father, he told me, son, don't let it slip away. He took me in his arms, I heard him say, when you get older, your wild heart will live for younger days. Think of me if ever you're afraid. He said one day you'll leave this world behind, so live a life you will remember. My father told me when I was just a child, these are the nights that never die. My father told me. can't put out, carve your name into those shining stars. He said go venture far beyond the shores, don't forsake this life of yours. I'll guide you home no matter where you are. One day my father, he told me, son, don't let it slip away. When I was just a kid, I heard him say